Well, my next guest has been at the forefront of our nation's intelligence apparatus for decades, most recently providing direct intelligence to President Obama. He is aware of most everything the president received from 2011 to 2014, including intelligence on terrorism in the Middle East and the rise of Isis. He has even sat down to speak with terrorists, and he's seen a lot of dead ones, too. Retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn served as director of the Defense Intelligence Agency under President Obama from 2012 to 2014. Before that, he served as director of intelligence at United States Central Command, or CENTCOM, which oversees the Middle East. Great to see you, General. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So you were there. You know what President Obama saw every day from 2011 to 2014. You tell us what was said about ISIS.
Yeah, so let me just start by saying that intelligence doesn't start and stop at Central Command. There are 16 intelligence agencies. There's 5 large ones, and there's 2 that provide what we call all-source intelligence assessments. Those are the most important ones that go into the White House. And I will tell you that the accuracy and the warnings that have been provided on the rise of radical Islamists over the last few years have been very, very clear. So what the president has actually received from the national intelligence system is pretty good intelligence, and I would say it's very accurate. So what he's done with that intelligence, you know, from what we can tell right now, is you know, he's taken on this really lousy policy.
But before we get to the policy, because I want to stick to what they know, because even today the White House was not refuting assertions that they had put out earlier that President Obama was surprised. He was surprised at the strength of ISIS. You were in a position to know. Is that true? Was he surprised when ISIS took off? Did he have reason to be?
There was so much activity and so much, I think, accurate reporting coming out of all parts of our intelligence system that were going into the U.S. intelligence system and into the White House. So to say that I'm surprised at the rise of this threat is really it's a gross understatement as to what reality is.
What about this manipulation, this reported manipulation of the data that the intel analysts were being told, we don't like that message, fix it to comport more with the narrative coming out of the White House?
Yeah,
it's not that the Iraqi soldiers abandoned, it's that they redeployed.
Yeah, I think that that this issue of not meeting a narrative out of the White House, which meant don't talk about radical Islam, don't talk about this as being a form of a radicalization of the Islamic religion, which in fact it is. It is a cancer inside of the Islamic religion, and the White House and the president, frankly, has not wanted to say that. So if you continue to get this pushback, which is really what happened, and I think that's what you're seeing from the analysts, the great analysts down at CENTCOM, which have been at this thing for a long, long time.
Jumping up and down, trying to say, pay attention,
and
look over here.
Many of them have been deployed for many years in Iraq, Afghanistan, and elsewhere in their AOR. So, you know, I think that the focus of really this investigation, they'll find whatever they're going to find, you know, in some of the tactical issues at CENTCOM, but the focus of this investigation ought to start right at the top. Where intelligence starts and stops is at the White House. The president sets the priorities, and he's the #1 customer. So if he's not getting the intelligence that he needs, if he's not paying attention to what else is going on, then something else is wrong there between him and the advisors that he has.
One person who was not underestimating this threat was you. Yeah. And before I let you go, you have to tell the viewers, back in 2006, there you were, and you actually stood over the body of one of the most notorious terrorists we've faced, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. Tell us.
Yeah, so just briefly, I think when we killed Zarqawi in 2006, we felt good about it because we had been hunting him for a long time, almost 3 years at that point in time. But we knew that the problem was not going to end with his death. And we felt, as good as we felt seeing the accomplishment of that mission, we knew that this thing was far from over. And we have been following that ever since, and it has not gotten better. And it has, in fact, doubled, or in some cases around the region, tripled in terms of the size and scope of the problem. So you can't, nobody can sit here today, no one, and particularly the amount of intelligence that the White House got, and say we didn't know this was a problem. I mean, give me a break.
Great to see you, General.
Thanks, Megyn.